Welcome back, everyone. Hello, it's Torben Anderson, your host for Rewired for Success. If you are a business owner and you want to take control of your business and really seriously scale it up, then you have come to seriously the right place. Whether you're a startup, an established business, or getting ready to scale, then this is for you. Today, we continue our series and interviews about businesses that have been making real progress in scaling themselves. And I'm super excited to present today's guests in a moment. But firstly, I wanted to again thank our sponsors for today's episode, Process Street. Process Street is a way that we at Rewired map our processes in a super efficient and repeatable way. But more of that at the end of the show. If you are listening, again, I am Torben. I'm the host of Rewired for Success. And today I'm really proud to present both Jennifer Barcelos and Sandy Connery. They are co-founders of Namastream Software. Jennifer is an attorney, a change maker, a mother, and an entrepreneur. She's the co-founder of Namastream Software, which is a platform, and the Soul for MBA School and Community, as well as the Climate Justice non-for-profit 3 Degrees Warmer. Prior to this, and prior to becoming an entrepreneur, Jennifer served as a Gates public service lawyer, scholar, and received a graduate degree in environmental science from Yale. Sandy is also co-founder of Namastream Software, Soul for MBA, and Connectable Software, so connectable.biz software. After an amazing 20-year career in footwear, Sandy sold her $1 million brick and mortar retail business and clinic. She now brings her business experience to the online space where she loves to create community, teach and inspire other women to find the freedom and impact they desire. So I really want to welcome Jennifer and Sandy. Welcome to the show. How are you both today?
We're great.
Good. Yeah,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
having us.
Our bios sound so much better when read in an English accent. Thank you.
Even with a few little mistakes there, but thank you.
No, it's gorgeous.
I want to have you record my voicemail.
Hey,
right.
That's great. I'll do that with pleasure. And if that's not, and also if you want a South African accent, because I'm originally South African, then
Yeah, I
happy
thought
to
you
do that
sounded
as well.
South African. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so it's a combination. So there we go. So just fill in some gaps from that startup, from that intro, from your bio, and let me know what I've missed out on.
Well, I think that's who we were before we came together to build our company. But since then, I think that's probably what most folks are most interested in. And we've been growing this company for about 3 years together, about 2.5 years, 3 years. And it's been a really fascinating journey to go from idea to sort of a beta product out in the market. And now to having been for the last year or so, just really focused on scaling.
Great. And what does Namastream Software do?
Namastream is a platform that allows anyone who has expertise to teach online. So they're able to upload their content and sell it to their students. So we kind of put a lot of different pieces and take a lot of different pieces and put it into one place so that they can just keep this technology super simple and allow people to teach online.
Fantastic. And tell me more about what you're doing with Namastream and where your real passion lies and why.
Well, we're extremely passionate about helping experts, particularly women, ambitious women, to take their skills and their knowledge and their learned experience and to take that and to build a profitable and sustainable business with those skills on the internet. We've been able to do that. We're sort of the prototypes of our ideal client, and it's been incredibly powerful and liberating for both of us. And so that's what our tool and we have an education company, we have a media company, and we have a software company, and all of our businesses are all geared toward that objective.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I think the passion comes from like taking these women who are kind of struggling and confused, and they know they want something bigger, and they know they want to work in a different way. And we can show them we've got the tool, and we've got the education, and we've got our stories to help and inspire them to live the life that they want. And that's really what drives us every day.
Fantastic. And I guess you've got some great examples of that. Do you have something you can share about a particular example of how somebody's gone through that?
Yeah. So we started our business in the yoga niche. And so we've now expanded well up and out and beyond that. We sort of unniched, which goes against every recommendation we've ever heard, but it's working for us. And so the majority of our case studies and our client success stories come from yoga and wellness. But we have a client who, for family reasons, had to close down a brick and mortar business and sort of move thousands of miles away, and was able to grow a very profitable sort of full-time income from taking that teaching online. We have a number of brick and mortar businesses that are still functioning as brick and mortars that are able to double or triple major portions of their revenue by adding an extra online component. And then we have other clients who are using our live streaming capabilities to coach, teach, train, and work directly, whether individually or with small groups, through our platform. So they're able to seek clients anywhere on earth. And we have a lot of folks who travel at least part of the year. They do retreats, they're speaking at conferences, and it's a really wonderful way not to lose out on those opportunities to work together remotely.
Fantastic. And I want to pick up on what you said about unniched. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, I think the business thinking is to niche down, have a really specific and targeted message to a very small core audience so that you're actually reaching them. And we did that. Jenny started this business by being super niche. And there was just a point where just actually, within the last 3 to 4 months, where we just started to feel like there was more that we could do. We love our yoga and Pilates and health and wellness clients. We love, love, love them. However, why are we limiting the message just to them when there are women who, because we would have emails and requests, direct messages saying, I do this, can I use Namastream? And it's like, of course you can use Namastream. Of course you can use Namastream. Of course you can come into the Soulful MBA. So we just wanted to unniche and open it up. And we just sort of changed our language a little bit to ambitious women and to people who, and it's not, of course we don't limit it to women, but that's sort of where our messaging is. But, and it felt so good to kind of open it up and expand, and it's really worked, but it's sort of against all the teaching.
Yeah, that's really, really interesting. I mean, so that sounds like, that's really part of your DNA of how you've sort of scaled your business. And as the listeners will know, I have this usual mantra, which is all about, what are all the important parts of a business that really allow you to scale? Because it's not always only about the technology, but it's about the process and the people as well. And so I wondered if you could share a bit more about how you have scaled in this unniched way, how you've, for example, grown your team, how you've done that.
Well, the team is an interesting question. We have also a really unique approach to team. We have a much smaller team than we did a year ago. And that was an intentional decision on my part, probably against every piece of advice I was given, and maybe against Sandy's better hopes at the time. But I think you've come around, Sandy.
Yeah.
I felt ill-prepared. As we started to grow and we started to see traction and have success, we scaled as you would expect, like everyone tells you to do, to take more things off your plate, find the best person to do your social media, and the best, dev team, and the best, it got to the point where this time last year, as a CEO, all I was doing was coordinating other people, which I think is sort of the typical role of the CEO. And yet I felt so disconnected from our company a year ago. And so I made a really strategic decision and part of it was that we had grown, startups grow quickly, and we had grown in a way that I didn't even understand completely what everyone was doing. I just was trusting that people had expertise that I didn't have, and that these day-to-day jobs were important. And I got to a point this time last year where I wanted to actually understand what was happening in my company. And so we started to scale back folks' hours and eventually let people go. We still have a core team. We don't do everything ourselves, don't worry. But we let a number of people go last year. And Sandy and I started to sift through the tasks that those team members were doing. And we were actually able to cut out a lot of that work. We took over the work that was meaningful and important, and we've come up with systems and processes for streamlining those tasks. And then we let a lot of it go. And it's interesting to see your revenue go up and your success go up as you're scaling back on not just the actual people and the HR resources, but the work that those people, were doing. And we have no ill will or sort of bad thinking about anyone, but it's interesting to observe that a lot of that was unnecessary. And it sort of met my suspicions in the sense that, like this time last year, I was like, do we really need to be doing X, Y, or Z? And it felt a bit like a distraction, even on my time, having to supervise someone doing those things.
Great.
I just wanted to add, it's been interesting to, again, go against the, normal advice. And I think that Jenny and I, we can't do this forever. Like with our goals that we have, we won't be able to operate like this forever. But I think in this earlier phase of business, I think it's extremely important that we understand every single thing that's happening in our company, that we are actually doing it. And we are going forward now with a lot more intention, a lot more understanding, and we are building out the processes, as she said, and recording it so that, and documenting it so that when we do bring someone on, we will be very, very clear on what we're asking them to do, which we weren't doing last year or the years before. And we felt the pressure to hire because that's what you do as a startup. You hire, like someone else should be doing that. And it just, so we did it. And it was like, oh God, no, this is not working. Yeah. So it's been very interesting this last 8 months or so, a year.
Great. And that's super important. Rewired, we talk about the power of the team and, being in touch with your team and also those systems and processes that you've been putting in place. What are some of the most important things you've done around putting processes in place?
Well, we are strict adherents to Trello. We had been using Asana, and we had been using Asana with sort of like part of our team, and then we'd been using Trello with our dev team, the dev side of our company. And it was kind of just, we were all over the place. And Sandy and I are not systems thinkers by nature. We've gone through personality tests. We've been actually working a lot on sort of our own self-awareness lately as leaders and entrepreneurs. And neither of us have that sort of grounded down to earth way of thinking. And so for us, it's a learned strategy. But we realized our dev team is not going to switch off of Trello, and it works. That communication works really well. We have a really great PM that we work with that sort of taught us how to use Trello properly. And so what we ended up deciding to do was to build out the rest of our company, the processes in Trello. And so Sandy and I are all day, every day in Trello. We also use Slack, and we just sort of every day, and we know what our weekly tasks are and our daily tasks are. We know what everyone is supposed to be doing at any given time, and we know what the metrics are for success. And so that in just that alone, I think has made a huge difference. But we also don't have to supervise a bunch of external contractors and a bunch of in-house people anymore. We have sort of our core team members, and we have this one place where everyone works, and that's sort of how we keep it together.
Before Trello, I had a business before Namastream, and we had standard operating procedures, SOPs, and they were like the most awful thing to me. I hated them, but we had to have them, and they were there. So the idea that we would create SOPs for this company just made me crazy. So Trello, for some reason, is just drag and drop and checklists. And we can create really decent SOPs inside Trello, and they're kind of fun. And we've got them customized with images and stuff, and they're great. And they're for some reason, it works for our type of brains. And so we can hire anyone in the future and they can just follow along and drag things as they're done or check them off as they're done. So it really does. This tool really works for us.
Great. Yeah, and that's something, we talk a lot about Rewired. It's not always just about which technology tool, but it's about the tool that's going to work for you, the tool that's going to work for your processes and the way that your team works. And so, you guys are doing that, and that's fantastic. And that is exactly, what we talk about in terms of trying to scale your business. For the listeners, what would you say is one of your most important scale-up strategies, and why?
I mean, I don't think there's one thing. I think maybe one that just maybe doesn't get talked about on your podcast is, I'll just say is Pinterest for us.
Okay.
Traffic is really important. So we have all different parts of a funnel are important, and traffic is one. We have a tremendous amount of traffic from Pinterest. And so that, but that only works because we are regularly producing blog content and podcast episodes that are then getting put into Pinterest. And we have a very strategic way of pinning other people's content and interacting on the platform that leads to a significant percentage of our web traffic. Those same blog posts and podcast episodes also really help us with organic search. So it's, it's all connected. But I would say if we get lazy and are in the middle of a launch or busy and we ignore Pinterest, our traffic spikes down pretty immediately.
Wow. And that's really interesting. So Pinterest is something that's working for you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And this is one of the things that we had a really sort of high-end person managing this for over a year. This is one of the things we cut last year. And I personally took it over because I'd heard other sort of friends and entrepreneurs who'd had great success with it. And I was like, I think we could be doing even better with this. And I want to understand what we need to do to optimize it. And within, 2 months, Sandy, it was up like, I don't know, 400%.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Yeah.
From just me taking the time to do it. And so now we're in a position where I can rehire someone to take over, that part of our social media when I'm ready, and I'll be able to better give them instructions. Early on, I think when you're starting a company, a new kind of company, or in a new industry or niche, I think you don't have the capacity to know everything. And so that just is going back to your last question about team. We did the best we could to hire the best people for the jobs that we knew we needed. But Sandy and I, between the two of us as co-founders, didn't have all of the skills ourselves, right? That's why we were hiring out. And as we're growing and as we're evolving as leaders and business people, we're acquiring some more of those skills ourselves. And it just gives us more confidence now when we are going out to rehire, to make sure that somebody A, is a good fit, and also B, we're going to be able to give them very clear, concrete instruction on how to do something in a way that works for our company, because our business isn't like, it doesn't fit in a little nice tidy box. Like some random person can't drop into our company and work. And we've learned that the hard way.
Great. And how is Pinterest different? How does that work differently for you compared to maybe other social channels?
Well, it just drives a ton of traffic. I mean, it's at some points, like around, many months are hovering above 90% of our social traffic is from Pinterest. So it's quite high. And we're pretty much on every social platform. So, yeah, and I'd say probably 30% of our overall traffic comes from that search engine. So it's quite high. And what I've done differently, I think, is just authentically understand our ideal clients and know how to visually produce content that speaks to those people. And then Pinterest also rewards you sort of interacting with other people's pins, right? So like what other people pin, like what to interact with, all of that matters, right? So when we hire somebody else and they're interacting on like chicken recipes. Like that doesn't work for our company. And that's like literally what was happening. We have a business tool that we sell. We're a B2B company. And so I know what to do, right? Like I know what kind of content to create for us, but also I know what kind of content to interact with on the platform to be meaningful for our ideal clients.
Great.
Yeah, and Torben, just to be clear, in case your listeners are not Pinterest users, it's basically a big, huge visual search engine. And Jenny creates these beautiful pins, and people find them and love them, and they click it, and it will open up to a blog post or some kind of content or a podcast or something. And now they're on our site, and that's where we can use opt-in or like a hello bar with a webinar sign up or whatever. Or get them onto listening to our podcast. So that's sort of the flow from Pinterest to our actual stuff.
Great. So I really understand that using that visual content and then driving the traffic to your various pages or to your website. Fantastic. So we at Rewired, we've got 3 questions that we ask kind of at the end of the show, and we're coming up to that point. So the first question is, what is the one thing that you would say people fail to do when they choose new technology?
My reaction to this, because people always, I think, feel like technology is hard if they're not a technologist by trade. And even the simplest software or tool, I feel like you have to give yourself a couple of hours to really learn how to use it before you allow yourself to feel that frustration. And that's what we tell our clients, and that's what we experience ourselves. We have a ton of integrations built into our platform, and then we just, as business owners, use a lot of tools. And I think that there is this expectation and excitement that, oh, this new technology is going to solve my problem and it's going to be easy and great. And even the easiest things to use, I feel like, take time to learn. And so just give yourself the grace and the space and the openness and willingness to figure things out, even though they're hard. Because if you invest that time, I mean, the first time I opened up Adobe InDesign, it took me 3 hours to get a document to use to start working with, right? Like, and now I can do it, and I feel super proud about it. And it's really intimidating to start using a new technology, but you sort of have to give yourself that time.
Great. Yeah, and that happens a lot, and we talk about that a lot, that quite often people reject technology because they just don't know how to use it. So the first reaction is, I don't know how to use something, therefore it's not going to work for me. So that's great. Second question is, your favorite technology tool and why?
Well, we mentioned Trello, but I think my other is ConvertKit. We switched just over a year ago, and we were just talking about this the other day, and I can think through it. It's logical to me. I love the use of tags. I love that it integrates with lead pages and
Namastream.
And Namastream, integrates with Namastream, and they're just
Great.
a fantastic company to work with. And it's just, we will never switch from ConvertKit. They are just amazing to work with. I love what they can do, what they do for us.
Great, fantastic. And for your business, what would you say is the next big thing in tech that you think will either help you or an area that you may go into?
I think affiliate software.
Someone please make affordable, good affiliate that works with Stripe. Somebody out there. That's what we need.
Yeah, we've tried some bad apples and have therefore rejected everything we've seen that isn't like $1,000 or more. So
Great.
yeah, I think that if you're not already using affiliate software in your business or using affiliate, marketing, I think it's a huge opportunity, but it is heavily reliant on there being a technology in place that works for your business.
Great. Well, you heard it here, and if you're interested, how best can the listeners get in touch with both of you?
Our home on the internet is at Soulful MBA, which is soulful.mba, and there you can connect to our software, our coursing community, and our podcast.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming on again. Really appreciate it. Any final words?
Keep going, in the words of Seth Godin.
figure it out.
Great, thank you. So again, thanks again for joining Rewired for Success today. I'm the founder of Rewired. I'm Torben Anderson. Today's episode was sponsored by Process Street. At Rewired, we use Process Street basically to create powerful checklists, powerful standard operating procedures, and we're able to do that and really mark up our DNA for our business. And if you're able to click on the link at the end of the show or at the bottom of the show notes, and then I'll really appreciate you doing that. And thanks again for joining. Till next time. Cheers.